Carlos Nelson with Cascade Sports, and today we have one of my favorite coaches on, Mr. Kareem Richardson. He's formerly the head coach of UMKC here in Kansas City, and I would like to thank him because when he had the power over there, he made sure that Cascade Sports was included into their media mix and their sports mix. Welcome to the show, Kareem.
I appreciate it, man. Great seeing you. Appreciate you having me on. It's been a long time. A lot of moving since the last time we've connected. I'm now at North Carolina State here in Raleigh, North Carolina, and there's been some moves in between since UMKC, but nonetheless, really a pleasure being on.
I'm glad you mentioned some moves. Run down after you left UMKC.
After I left UMKC, I did 2 years at Indiana State as associate head coach there. That was a really good move for me personally. Got a chance to get around, be around my kids more who lived in Indianapolis. So that was a really strategic move. And so then after 2 years at Indiana State, I did Clemson University for 1 year. And great.
What did you take away from each one of those associate jobs? That because you were a head coach at a major university, and what was that like psychologically? I'm not a coach, and y'all bounce from here to there, and I don't know how you do it because some of that stuff would crush me.
Yeah, no, shoot, a lot of it. To be perfectly honest, man, it was crushing the way the UMKC, ended. But it's the nature of the business. There's really usually no good way to end. Usually, either the university's mad at the coach for leaving, or the coach is mad at the university for making them leave. So it goes both ways. But that's a great question. But at Indiana State, I tell you what, it was not only was it a great move for me personally, being around my boys and being able to be a little bit more active in their lives and what they had going on, but I went with a guy that was a really good friend of mine, and Greg Lansing, and he allowed me to, even though I wasn't the head coach, he allowed me so much responsibility and things to help him run the ball club. And I think at that point in time, when you go from being a head coach to an assistant coach, I'll be honest with you, I don't have much of an ego. I know people say that, but I really don't have much of an ego. But it still hurts you. It's hard after, especially, we were there for 6 years at UMKC. And so it's a little bit more difficult than I even thought in terms of going back, being an assistant coach and being a head coach. There's some things as a head coach that you can control. You can kind of control the scheduling a little bit more if you got things to do, or just running your own program in general. But going with Greg Lansing, he allowed me so much of that head coach feel, even though I wasn't, to allow me to honestly get my feet back on the ground as being an assistant coach. And so I probably wouldn't be as good back as an assistant coach if I didn't go with Greg as I was at Clemson and now at North Carolina State.
Talk about your tenure at North Carolina State from day one.
Yeah, it's again, I'm fortunate here. I've been at North Carolina State for 1 year. I'm going into my second year right now, and the head coach here, Kevin Keatts, he's a dear friend and one of my best friends, not only in the profession but in life. When I was at UMKC, we bounced a lot. We shared a lot of ideas off of each other. Coach Keatts and I played together or excuse me, we worked together at Louisville, part of the national championship team at Louisville. And so we have a lot of, we were in the trenches together, not only as friends, but as colleagues. So getting the opportunity, similar to Indiana State, coming here from day one, being with somebody I know and I trust, and Coach Keatts, and it was, the last year coming into last year, it was, there was a lot of eyebrows raised, so to speak, why I would make the move to come to North Carolina State from Clemson, in a situation where, to be quite frank, it was a situation where coming in, I knew we needed to win, and we needed to win big, to kind of get people off of Coach Keatts' back and get back to the NCAA tournament and get North Carolina State back. It's got rich tradition here. Fan base is really, really big and really passionate about basketball. And so coming in here, but I knew I trust Coach Keatts and his ability to coach. But more importantly, I trusted him as a person. He's one of the best human beings that I know, and I knew he had the ability to galvanize and get a team together to where and we could block out the noise and block out the pressure, so to speak, of having to win games and make a big push. And from day one, we knew that we locked arms along with the other guys on the staff and within the program. And we had a heck of a year last year. Certainly, once again, there's only one team that's going to finish standing as the national champion, but we made it to the NCAA tournament. Had one of the biggest turnarounds from their previous year. North Carolina State, we won 23 games last year, and like I said, made it to the NCAA tournament. We lost to Creighton, who was one play away from being Final Four team. So
how bad did y'all lose to Creighton?
I believe it was 6-7, somewhere around there. I don't. It was a close game. Creighton was a really good team. It was a heck of a game, back and forth, and they ended up pulling away towards the end.
Hey, Coach, have you been on the recruiting side of working with the university?
Yeah, 100%. That's one of the things that we all, so there's two other assistants, so three total assistants along with myself, and that's a big part of it. And I was able to hit the ground running with the recruiting. I'm sure you've heard a lot of the talk, and a lot of people have heard talk about recruiting has changed because of transfer portal.
That's what you hit it. Because I wanted to compare from your previous statements. You said Coach needed to hush the administration and everything to an extent. They needed to win, and they needed to win fast. And I wanted to ask you about the women's LSU winning, and they used that transfer portal hole to get a lot of those players and won the national championship. Do you see that type of thing, and how do you view that in men's basketball?
Yeah, 100%. And I honestly, I don't know LSU. I watched them. They had a heck of I don't know like how many transfers they had and all of that, but I do know for us, Carlos, was we were able to really kind of flip our roster pretty quickly because of the transfer portal. We brought in going into last year, we brought in 6 transfers out of the transfer portal. So the previous year at NC State, they were relatively young. They were trying to. Quavion Smith was a freshman who had an outstanding freshman year, and had another couple of sophomores in there, but guys that in this day and age were relatively young. So what we were able to do, we went from NC State being one of the younger teams in the country to us now becoming one of the older teams, just like that with the recruiting portal. So, going back to asking about the recruiting, I was able to help, bring in some older guys, transfers along with the other assistant coaches. We all worked hand in hand. It's not about my guy or whatever. It's about our guy. And so we all had our hands in there, man. And we worked relentless because I not only was a new assistant coach, but the other two assistants, so all three assistant coaches were brand new to the program last year. And we were able to hustle and grind and get in that transfer portal and we had a couple fifth-year grad transfers. We had a couple of transfers that still had a couple of years remaining, but had been in college for, multiple 3-4 years. And we got old quick. And it's certainly the new day and age, in my opinion, of recruiting. You may sprinkle in one or two freshmen in there, and rosters are going to be pretty changing on a yearly basis, and the transfer portal gives you an opportunity to stay old.
From your performance this year, you should have enthusiastic audience looking forward to the basketball season to support you this season. What do you have to say about that?
Yeah, I no, great point. I do. Again, like I said before, the NC State basketball fan bases, they're passionate, they're knowledgeable, and it's an awesome fan base to be around, and they want to win. But I think we brought some excitement into this coming year. The one good thing about us is we were able. A couple of our transfers still had another year, which was good, and guys that were very liked by the fan base. We got and naming one, we got a kid, DJ Burns, who last year, the fan base was, and he get in the game. He's a big man, and he doesn't necessarily look the part. He didn't have a great physical body, but he just kind of that guy like every common person can kind of relate to, go to the Y, and you got that dude who's backing guys in, scoring buckets, and my man DJ Burns can score the basketball with the best of them. The fan base was chanting his name when he got into the game, and when he touched the basketball. But DJ's back with us, and to be honest with you, DJ Burns has helped this fan base be excited about what we have coming in, because he is so likable guy, but he can also play. And then along with the other guys, other transfers that we have coming in, Casey Morcell is a guy that's returning for his fifth year, and so we got some pieces there that bring some excitement to the fan base, in my opinion.
Tell me this: what's your opinion now of the athletes being able to profit from their image and so forth? What's your take on that?
I think it was a long time coming. I was back in my day, 50 million years ago, playing. I've always thought that athletes should be able to receive some type of compensation. It was, not only now, but even back then, and even before me, this NCAA they make a lot of money. It's a $1 billion business, as we know, and for a long time, student athletes weren't able to monetize off of it without losing their eligibility. So it's really cool to see these guys and men and women to be able to get, and talk about LSU. Shoot, Angel Reese she's killing the game, right? She's if I'm not mistaken, I think she might be the highest paid, or there after the gymnast, the one or two highest paid money makers in college basketball, men or women. So she's done a great job with her platform. Gentleman that I talked about, DJ Burns, for us, has done a great job with his platform. He has
look at Deion's son.
Well, we know Deion's son is going to be killing the game because of his dad. But in his defense, he said, I saw a piece. He's in there driving a Maybach. And,
right. I've seen that piece 2 days ago. That's why I mentioned it.
Yeah. So I'm assuming he's got some in.
He's all smiles too. I love him.
Hey, I'll be smiling too if I was rolling around in a Maybach.
But he's the quarterback, and I think he deserves all the accolades that coming his way.
No, I no question about it. I believe all the student athletes deserve the accolades that they can get from their name, image, and likeness, and monetize off of it. And for a lot of them, it's a game changer not only for the student athlete, but at times for their families. To be able to help support their families in ways that they probably weren't able to do especially at that age and in their time in their career.
All right, Coach. In closing out, what would you have to say to a young athlete, let's say a high schooler?
A big thing I'd say, if we're talking about basketball or really in general about any athlete, is to always talk about, and I talk to this about my own boys. I got a son who just graduated high school, and I got another one who's in the 8th grade, and I just talk to them about staying hungry and humble. It's hard, especially the high school kid in men's basketball, and I believe women's basketball, and really probably a lot of the sports because of the transfer portal. It's a lot harder for high school kids to get seen and get those scholarships at probably levels that they may had in 3 or 4 years before the transfer portal got really prominent. So I would just say stay hungry and humble. You gotta stay just like in any the walk of life, of staying on your grind and stay persistent, because everybody's walk is different, everybody's journey is different, and it's easy to compare what other people have. Oh, this guy got offered, I don't know why he got offered or she got offered, and I'm just as good. Well, you just gotta, again, I go back to staying hungry and humble. Stay hungry with your profession, stay hungry in the classroom, and keep putting yourself in position to where coaches like myself will notice you and take you even over a transfer portal kid.
I think that the game has changed. We've been out front on the game. The game is media and how you present yourself. When we do these interviews with the team members, and how you come across, especially when you are possibly Division III, Division II, NAIA. Coaches don't have that budget to come see you. They can see some of your play, but they don't have a real insight into your personality. And I think when you can have a chance to do some interviews, that should be on your card. And I think you can't wait for them to discover you. You have to say, "Hey, Coach, seen you on Cascade Sports. Here's a little something on me. I'm a sophomore, and I'd like to come down there." And you might, the next year, "Hey, Coach, remember me? Blah, blah, blah." And I don't think the kids see that, because they only see the shiny part of these kids going to school. What's your take on that before you go?
No, I agree with that. I think kids, student athletes have to be a little bit more, or a lot more, to your point, aggressive, so to speak, in terms of whether that's spending your own time and dime, it's so to speak, of doing some of those things that you're talking about. Also getting on campus. I get coach, like, man, it's no problem. I can drive myself over to campus, and here's some highlights, and here's even more than highlights, to be honest with you. My other point would be have actual game film. Anybody can look good in a highlight. So there's nothing wrong with coaches seeing your flaws and also seeing your great things that you can do. So having actual game footage, going to elite camps, schools that have these camps on campus. I think for me, especially if you're not a McDonald's All-American or high tier top 100 person, I feel getting your foot on somebody's campus, going to their elite camp, so they can lay eyes, to your point, especially your Division twos and some of your Division threes who may not have the budget to go out and see all of these different AAU events or scholastic events, is to put yourself in front of them, make yourself seen. And the last part I'll say about it too, Carlos, is not getting caught up in levels, so to speak. Man, there's a lot of good basketball at Division two. There's a lot of good basketball at Division three, and there's a lot of good basketball in AI. I'm sure, like my kids all had aspirations of being, at a North Carolina State or whatever it may be. But man, there's competitive basketball over there, like at a Rockhurst there in Kansas City or William Jewell or whatever. Man, those guys are super competitive, and it's really good basketball at all levels.
All right, Coach. It was a plum pleasing pleasure having you on the show today. And we look forward, hopefully, when the season starts. I don't know what the communications people have down there, but we would be super excited if we can get a couple of Zoom interviews with a couple of your players. That would really be a notch in our hat. And as we always say in closing, when you invest in your community, you're really just investing in yourself. And for you basketball junkies, remember, Cascade Sports, we go hard in the paint, baby. We go hard.
This program is brought to you by the City of Fountains Coaches Association.